It's just 1 week before a potential government shutdown, and President Trump abruptly canceled a planned meeting with top congressional Democratic leaders. In a lengthy social media post, Trump wrote that after reviewing the details of what he called an unserious and ridiculous demand being made by the minority radical left Democrats in return for their votes to keep our thriving country open, I've decided that no meeting with their congressional leaders could possibly be productive. Trump wrote that the items in Democrats' alternative funding proposal were non-starters, adding that he looks forward to meeting with them, quote, when you become realistic about the things that our country stands for. Both House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer slammed that decision. Two sources tell NBC News that the meeting was canceled in part because of the urging of House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune. Government funding is set to expire on September 30th. That's early next week. And Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wrote, faced with the simple duty of sitting down to keep the government open, Trump runs away before the talks even begin. A lot for us to dig into with congressional correspondent Kevin Fry. So it was always going to be, I think, sort of the optic of seeing them meet, but there was never really going to be a deal at hand here. And I think we should remind people what Democrats are saying that their stance on this is. So if you could do that, and then also where this goes next. Well,
and just to pry apart the meeting itself a bit, I mean, if we think back to, I think it was 2018 in December, there is the risk from Johnson and Thune's perspective that they go in there and just like then, Trump takes credit and says, you know what? You can blame this all on me. And then all of their messaging is out the door. The Democrats are pushing for, among other things, trying to preserve the ACA incentives to help keep healthcare costs down. They also want to roll back some of the basically marquee items within the One Big Beautiful Bill. So in some ways, they're turning this into kind of a secondary referendum on that. And they want to, for example, help preserve Medicaid. And so these are some of their main asks they're going into this argument with. Basically trying to turn this into a health care debate, believing that's more of a winning territory for them, especially as there are continuing concerns in polling after polling that costs continue to be an issue for folks.
I'm glad that you bring up polls because I'm no fan of just framing every argument around them. But my understanding from talking to both members and members of outside groups is that they're showing Democrats consistent polls that show Americans are feeling the squeeze already on affordability, but specifically on health care. And I do think that's where the politics are so immediately wrapped up in the shutdown, because I do think Democrats now, they felt this before, but they certainly feel it now that Trump is saying, I'm canceling the meeting and I won't meet with them, that they're not going to be the ones that they feel are blamed for this. And past his prologue, right? I mean, typically the party in power does get blamed for a shutdown.
Right. And so, I mean, it's kind of these weird dynamics that are play this time. Usually one, as you pointed out, is usually the Democrats that don't necessarily get blamed for a shutdown. But this is kind of one of those strange scenarios where going into it, they're the ones with the asks. Republicans are basically saying, let's just keep things as they are right now. Democrats have things they want to get out of this. And so that's kind of one of the flipped dynamics. But at the same time, Democrats do have the ability to say, well, you're in charge of the House, you're in charge of the Senate, you're in charge of the White House. Get your stuff in order and run the government. And so it's this kind of odd dynamic.
And you and I know this because we cover a shutdown fight basically every 6 months, which is horrible, but it's where we are. This is a moment where government funding is typically bipartisan because there's always a tranche of folks on the right who won't vote for continued government funding. And Democrats, out of good governance, say, OK, we want to keep the government open, so we will go along on this. But there's always a negotiation. People always get something they want. Republicans are always unhappy about something else. And yet, that's not what we're seeing play out right now. And so I think Democrats feel frustrated with the idea, why is it on us? We don't have any power here.
Well, and just the simple math perspective in the Senate, you need, as it stands right now, Democratic buy-in just to overcome the filibuster. On top of that, the other item here is kind of the domestic politics of, for example, Senator Chuck Schumer. And exactly how is he going to play this back home in New York? We know after he, as his critics will say, caved back in March and moved ahead with the funding bill at that time, which he argued at the time was we got to keep the courts open and operating because they're doing good stuff for Democrats blocking the Trump administration. Also, we're in the midst of DOJ. And so if we go ahead with shutting down the government, that gives Trump carte blanche to do even more when it comes to running government. But he was blasted by everyone back home over that. And his polling is not doing so well in New York. He's underwater, which is kind of unheard of considering he's a ubiquitous figure in New York. And so he doesn't have necessarily the incentive structure to give in this time. We shall see.
We shall see. I think when you talk about the political dynamics of it, the grassroots pressure on Democrats is so immense right now because there is a feeling, right or wrong, that government already is doing, in Democrats' view, harmful things, that the theory of why they needed to keep the government open back in March no longer holds right now. But the thing that preoccupies me is they still haven't answered the question. And I ask this in all my source conversations. OK, your hang up last time was, how do you get out of a government shutdown once you're in it? There's still no answer to that.
Not at all. Not whatsoever. But as you were just kind of alluding to here, there is this desire amongst Democratic voters, do something. The problem is, and this is more of a 30,000-foot view, is that on Capitol Hill, when you aren't in charge of the House and you aren't in charge of the Senate, there's really only so much you have in terms of leverage. This is kind of one of those potential points, given the filibuster, given the fluid dynamics of needing Democratic support to get government funding done.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's why you've seen a lot of people rally around, for example, governors, because they have a little more power to push back, whereas people on the Hill, not to give them an excuse, but they just don't.
No, I mean, that's like my frequent refrain of like, it's a majority powered building. And that's why Democrats don't have the levers of power to hold leverage. And they feel that this is one of those moments. I think they're happy to be seen as going down fighting for health care, which is going to be the seminal issue in the midterms. Kevin Fry, always appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to keep this live ball as we continue forward. And it will continue forward this morning because Senator Chuck Schumer is joining Morning Joe later today. That's going to be a key interview later this morning.